Hi, it's Dew, and I'm here to celebrate the first two books that physical books that I've checked out from my neighborhood public library in a very, very long time. So when I first started this reintroduction to voracious reading that I'm in currently in my life, I wasn't using the public library. I was almost exclusively just using Little Free Libraries. And then I graduated from Little Free Libraries to start to do thrifting. And then from thrifting, I started to use my public library for digital audio and digital books. And now I've got my first two physical copies. When I got these physical copies, which are both two-word titles, and I will talk about these in a little bit, but really the purpose of this video is to discuss all of the ways for me that I'm bookish, and all of the ways that the different ways that being bookish manifests itself in my life, in sort of different styles or different kinds of, I'll call them hobbies, maybe even obsessions or fixations. This is the rest of my two-word title reading challenge, which I made a video and talked about, and it is done, and I will make a video soon reviewing all of those books. But I'm just going to focus right now on the ways of being bookish. So the first is book hauling. As I stated before, I started when I discovered Little Free Libraries, and I took a book out and I read it, and then I put it back in the same Little Free Library, and then I discovered I had some books lying around that I could exchange, and off to the races. So book hauling, whether it's at a Little Free Library, because there's something so wonderful about discovering something in the exchange, and even finding the library, it feels like an adventure, to thrifting, where there's something beautiful about rummaging and seeing amongst this set of books which ones would be delightful to find for me, to the library where one can be more discerning, to friends of the library sales. And I completely get, which I don't do yet, why people do something like book subscriptions and opening packages, or book mail, where they get to open packages and receive inside a book like a little gift. So book hauling is in and of itself its own delicious, delightful little hobby. Once you've hauled all these physical books, then you have to think of, how do I organize them, right? So I think this happens to everybody. It certainly happens to me. I went from having a very small little space that I used. I have bookshelves in my little apartment that they're actually built into one of the walls, and I mostly used it to display, say, sort of keepsakes and pictures and knickknacks and a little bit of books, but I didn't have them organized in any kind of a way. Then I hauled a lot of books. And so then as I hauled more and more books, I had to think about, oh, is there a little place for my TBR? Is there a place for my new hauls? How is this going to work logistically? How is this going to work aesthetically? And as I'm continually rotating books in and out, it's something that I periodically get to rethink about and redo again. And it's like its own hobby, right? Like, how do I organize these beautiful things that are aesthetically pleasing and also incredibly utilitarian? The next part of being bookish for me, of course, is reading. It's the reading, right? And I do love reading. I'm starting to, maybe, honestly, for the first time, engage in listening in a way that I haven't before. I have to admit, it's much more difficult for me to listen to a book than to actually read it. But I'm really trying to build my skill set in listening, in this with the same kind of critical analysis or the same kind of engagement that me decoding words off of a page, which I'm very used to, that I do while doing that. Of course, this is what really I was thinking about the difference between those two things when I got these two books at the library, because I have so many books on my physical TBR, and I started to get some on my digital TBR, which I don't have physically. And then I found these two books at the library, which I'm really excited to have found and want to read and fit with my my TBR prompt for this week. And I thought, well, no, I already picked another prompt. I already made another video. And I was like, don't be silly. All of this that I'm doing is for the reading. So, I'm really grateful for my public library to help me refocus too, that the hauling is great, but the reading is what I'm here for. That leads me to the next way that being bookish is sort of manifested into another hobby for me, and that is the unhauling. As I've said in a lot of videos before, I 100% unhaul into little free libraries, or I give books as gift to friends who I think, for whom I would recommend that book. And sometimes I hold on to them until I travel. Sometimes I mail them to people. Sometimes I let them know, could you meet me somewhere? I have a book to give you. I'm saying all of that to say, is part of when I was like, should I check out a book from the library? I realized that I have to, of course, return it to the library, and the unhaul aspect isn't there. Of course, I am totally at peace with that, but at first it made me feel a little kind of away, and it made me realize that, yes, part of this bookish experience for me is unhauling, is thinking about, oh, I got this book from this little free library, and I want to put something similar back because that's what vibe this little free library is giving me. Or I can't wait to give this book to this friend who I think would just really love it. So yeah, unhauling is in and of itself its own delightful kind of little hobby that is part of all of this bookishness for me. And then finally, it's book talk, or maybe I could say book analysis. So I can just read and put down a book and grab another book, but instead I'm choosing to make videos so that I can talk about books. In the past, I've been in book clubs, and a lot of people are in book clubs so that they can share insights and the experience of reading the book with other people. And when I go thrifting, or when I give a book to a friend, or when I'm especially when I'm at the Friends of the Library sale, I engage in discussing the book or the books with people. And I think, of all of the things that people are out there talking about, this is such a fantastic way to make conversation with friends and strangers. And it definitely is part, like, I enjoy just reading. I could just get a book from the library, read it, return it. But when I've integrated all of these other aspects of being bookish in, it's really, when you look at it, it's a whole big, endeavor that has multiple facets, all of which, the hauling, the organizing, the reading, the unhauling, and the, discussing and or engaging. Some people do book journals as well. I'm not doing that right now, but I would. I'm a kind of person that would. It's just not what I'm doing right now. I think, book journaling is another way that people can engage and hold on to the memory of a book. So it's really enriching when you think about it. And there's just a lot of ways in which being bookish can bring me joy and occupy my time in what I think is delightful engagement and positive in doing positive things in this world.